for all of us, we were mothered by women who weren't allowed to mother themselves. They weren't allowed to go inward. We didn't talk about that then. They weren't allowed to take time away for them. Before we get into today's episode, I want to make sure you subscribe to this YouTube channel. Also, if you don't want to miss any content that's being dropped, make sure you hit that notification bell as well. I also want to know who are the people you want to hear from on this show and what topics would you like me to continue to cover. Thank you so much for your continued support. Now, let's get into the episode. Welcome to the Mindset Mirror Connection YouTube channel, the channel where we debunk the concept of eat less, move more, shrink more mentality, and focus on what really matters, including your beliefs about yourself, your body, food, and teaching you behaviors that respect all three. I'm your host, Christina Hathaway, licensed therapist with specialized training in food and body obsession, certified personal trainer, nutrition coach, and menopause specialist. And in today's episode, we are talking about mothers, martyrs, and mirror work, the generational patterns we need to break. Yes, we're going deep, we're going hard, because here at the Mindset Mirror, we believe what you say in your mind, you see in the mirror. So let's have a little chat about that. What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Mindset Mirror Connection. I'm excited to talk about this today because y'all know it's so interesting when I look at the feedback, like the insights and statistics of this podcast. Obviously, these types of episodes do so well. And I love that because it tells me that you guys really enjoy the uniqueness of having a therapist and personal trainer and nutrition coach and all the fucking certification like giving you this information because it's really true. Like, I can't tell you how true the mindset work and the shit that we carry affects how we take care of ourselves. So today we're talking about that. For those of you new to us, I like to banter and talk about my life for a little bit. So if you are not interested in that, check out the show notes below to fast forward to the topic at hand. So I want to talk about perimenopause. Y'all, please in the comments, talk to me about your symptoms because I notice when I come back from these trips, I'm exhausted. Now, y'all know, like, I'm not drinking and doing all that. I did have a few drinks here and there, but that's not what's contributing to this because it's very few, and it's usually like, yeah. So I'm exhausted. I could sleep for 2 days. And as I'm creating the mindset of menopause, obviously I have educated myself so much with symptoms and all of that. And I'm just like, wow, I think perimenopause, man, we really have to kind of accept some truths in that when I go on vacation and I'm eating more of those like high processed, not even high processed, but like more like white flour carbohydrates, maybe even more saturated fats, that my truth is that I feel very fatigued afterwards, right? Now, why did I say that that's a truth? I can choose to do it or not. And obviously, going on vacation and enjoying certain foods is something I enjoy doing. I then have to accept the reality that I'm going to feel a bit more fatigued it's usually the day I come back. And I think that's so true for everyone else. But y'all, I could just sleep. Oh my gosh. I could just sleep. And I'm getting wonderful sleep because I'm not really drinking. And when I would drink, I just have these crazy spikes in my heart rate. I am sleeping well. I'm getting 7 to 8 hours of sleep on vacation. I did work out really hard on Saturday, but I did replenish myself throughout the day, obviously with energy intake, water, etc. So tell me in the comments, what's the perimenopause symptom that you just accept that if you do this thing that it's going to be a little bit worse? I want to share this. Let's make this known because for some people, they may read the comments and be like, oh my God, I feel that way too. I am wanting us gals to stand together and recognize your symptoms. Now, I don't have a period because I had a hysterectomy at age 35. So all I'm relying on is my symptoms and my hormone panel. Now, my hormone panel does show my LH and FSH in perimenopause. For some of you, it won't, but your symptoms will still show that. So what is the one thing that when I do this, my perimenopause symptoms is going to feel worse? One of the main ones is like alcohol. That's a good reason, big reason why I cut it out. also just emotionally going through different things right now. But I know if I eat certain foods outside of my kind of anti-inflammatory, high protein, high fiber diet, I just feel so tired and I hate it. I hate it. So that's all I'm going to talk about today. Speaking of that, I had a conversation with my mom. I said, when did you go through menopause? She goes, I don't know, because she also had a hysterectomy. And she said, it's really hard to figure that out when you have hysterectomy. And I'm like, I know. And she goes, what's interesting though, I still have hot flashes and I feel like I'm in menopause forever. And I told her, Mom, you are in menopause forever. Women used to not live as long as they do currently do. And their life expectancy at one point was like, it was much younger, like back in medieval days, it was like 27. Then it went then at the turn of the century, I think it was like 56. And obviously 56 is kind of when we go through menopause. Now it's like, and it's set in the 70s or 80s. Don't quote me on that. But so we're living without our ovaries functioning and thus having like estrogen and progesterone production for decades. So with that said, that convo with my mom, we're talking today about mothers, martyrs, and mirror work, the generational patterns we are breaking. You are not born to burn out, baby. You were probably raised to think you are and believe that it was noble. A lot of us neglect ourselves. We neglect our needs. We put everyone before ourselves. And you didn't learn to do that. You inherited that. You were trained to perform. You were trained to perform strength, being strong, but not actually live it. And this episode, we're going to talk about that. And we're going to go into the hard stuff. When I look at the statistics of what hits in these episodes, it is episodes like this, which makes me really happy because it tells me that you guys enjoy the blend of psychology with self-care and exercise and nutrition. So I'm going to, until you tell me otherwise, going to continue to do episodes like this. But let's talk about where this idea of doing for others starts. You didn't just start like abandoning yourself. You were trained to abandon yourself. And at the earliest years, girls, are explicitly and implicitly taught that their value lies in how much they can do for others. Their value lies in how little they need and how well they can perform being fine. Being fine. Girls are told, be polite even when you're uncomfortable, to share your toys even when it feels unfair, to help out because you're such a good girl, and to smile even when you don't want to. Or even worse, give that person a hug when you don't want to. Then you get the praise from that. She's such a good helper. She's so mature for her age. She's wise beyond her years. That's not healthy. Everything I listed off is a boundary violation. If I'm uncomfortable, I don't need to be polite. There's a really great podcast called My Favorite Murder. I love it. And one of their slogans is fuck politeness, because I hear it still. Like I just wanted to be polite. So no, fuck that. If someone is being abusive, if someone is violating a boundary, you do not need to be polite. Just on my little rant there. Sharing your toys. I don't need to share my things. They're mine. We teach kids to share. That's fine if I want to share. What if I don't want to share? I don't have to share. I don't have to get the hug from that person I don't know. When I first met Olivia, I would put my hands out to her and she would stay with Amanda. And I said to Amanda, it's okay. Like, I want her to feel comfortable coming to me. Funny, is that a word? Anyway, I was in New York City with my husband and we were watching Chicago on Broadway, and we sat down with this single dad with two little kids. And the little son was just so cute. And I was talking to him. We were having a combo. And literally by like intermission, he's like tapping on me. He's like, can I sit in your lap? I was like, sure. So he felt very comfortable because we were chatting. But, again, this praise and this idea, these concepts, they're not compliments. They're cues, right? They're cues that we're stepping into this self-suppression of who we are. We're creating this identity of what we're supposed to be. And we look at our family systems and our caregivers, they never stopped. And we come from the generation of mothers who most likely worked outside of the house for the first time. Now, my grandmother worked as a waitress, but I don't know the reality of that was when my aunts and or my mom and my uncles, excuse me, she doesn't have any sisters, were grown. So I don't know what that concept looked like. I do know my grandmother had an issue with alcohol. I also know my grandfather had an issue with gambling. So and domestic violence. So lots of trauma in that home. So my mom she was the team manager for like the baseball team at high school. Like she very much just kind of put herself into school and doing because that kept her safe, right? Interestingly, too, you guys, my grandfather was incredibly abusive to my uncles and my grandmother, but never my mom. My crazy. Think about that. So she would be polite. She wouldn't cross. My mom was such a rule follower because of that reason, but it became at the expense of her mental health. And I think that's actually a gift for me because not really, you know what I mean? Because I ended up being who I am through that gift. But I think if she would have continued the way that she was and hadn't gone through this burnout and breakdown, my life would look a lot different. So there's a little bit of gratitude in that. However, okay, back to business. If your mother was the one who, got up, usually had herself put together, got your breakfast ready, got you ready, walked you to school, drove you to school, walked you to the bus stop, she went to work. My parents worked together, so they were at work together all day. They took the bus to work and back because it was in downtown Los Angeles. Then came, got us from school, or we had a nanny or like a friend that would get us at the end when they were not able to. Then came home, had a snack, homework, I think. I don't remember doing homework. Watched TV. I do remember that. And she was in the kitchen. Well, really, because they were business owners, they were kind of like finishing up their day. But then mom, what dad was doing the work with finishing up the day, but mom then went into the kitchen and did the cooking. And then in the morning, she did the cooking for the breakfast. Then they would walk together, go get us a snack, they'd have a snack, and then she would be the one kind of putting us to bed. So again, like in my family, it was a little bit less traditional because my dad worked, but they worked together. So there was some help there off of each other, but then she had the added work, right? And so just doing. And for my mom, you could tell like feeding us and feeding us good meals was so important to her. It was like her love language. But also, I remember her like creating really cool Halloween costumes for us. I wonder where I get it from. Obviously, being there for the events, all of that. So there's the difference. Like I'm seeing this woman just like go, 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 go. And I don't remember her doing anything for herself. Like I remember my parents like doing like a Jenny Craig or Weight Watchers and maybe going to the gym. Like I remember them having gym memberships, but I don't remember a self-care deal. I don't remember my mom taking bubble baths. They didn't even have a bubble bath. Like they had a shower. I mean, they went to sleep. I don't know. Like I don't remember any self-care. So I'm witnessing this, right? And for all of us, we were mothered by women who weren't allowed to mother themselves. I want to say that again. We were mothered by women who were not allowed to mother themselves. They weren't allowed to go inward. We didn't talk about that then. They weren't allowed to take time away for them. And like I said, for my mom, it was at the expense of her mental health. And that caused a lot of trauma in my life, trauma in her life, really everyone's life. And so the problem is that we as the little girls don't even know that. All we see is what is being mirrored in front of us. And by the time we are teenagers, we're already overriding our own needs, right? For me, it was overriding my own needs and then being a chameleon to what she needed, right? Stuffing my emotions, or if my emotions came out, they came out very loud. And I chased validation through achievement. We all know my story. I was a dancer. I was a cheerleader. I was in student council. Was I the best student? No, and not until I got to graduate school. I did graduate with honors though from undergrad, like the lowest honors, but still fucking math. I had the best friends, boyfriend, car, clothes. I did work. I worked multiple jobs because that's what I knew. And not only did I know that from watching my mom, but it provided me an outlet outside of the house. I interrupt this episode to ask you some questions. Have you felt like your body is not your own? Do you look at jeans and think that they're someone else's? You forget words that your 3-year-old can spell? Do you feel like you're crying in the parking lot and then snapping at your partner? Do you feel bloated? Do you feel like fat is moving in different parts of your body? Do you just feel off? If you do, I'm here to tell you, if you're over the age of 35, it could very, very well be perimenopause. And you'll go to the doctor, get your testing done, and they'll say, well, you still have your period, so everything is fine, but you don't feel fine. I get it. I had a hysterectomy at 35, kept my ovaries thinking that that wouldn't push me into perimenopause, but it did exactly that. It did that 4.5 years earlier than I would have gone into it, and I just felt off. Headaches, brain fog, irritation, and you're not alone. You are not broken. But the problem is we try to use the same things that helped us lose weight in our 30s and 20s, and they're not working anymore. Why? Because estrogen and progesterone, testosterone even, are off. They're different. It doesn't mean it's bad. This is a transition that every single woman in this world will go through. However, what is bad is using old, worn-out methods instead of having a method that actually works. Introducing the mindset of menopause. This 16-week program is designed based in research and science as well as psychology to help you work through the main struggles of perimenopause. I'm going to teach you evidence-based approaches to nutrition, exercise, nervous system regulation and emotional management, sleep, sexual health, gut health, and so much more. In this 16 weeks, we have a weekly group coaching call, and every month we are going to meet one-on-one to design your game plan. On top of that, I'm going to have a completely new psychological curriculum based in what women struggle with going through this transitional period. Body image issues, boundary issues, really just emotional and stress management because life gets really lifey on top of hormones changing. On top of that, you'll get access to our community forum so you can be with like women who will say, hey, I'm here, I'm with you, we can do this together. This 16-week program is designed to be unlike any other program because it does incorporate the psychology, the physiology, the emotionality of what you're going through. So if you are interested, please check out the show notes to sign up for a clarity call so we can talk about what your goals are, what your symptoms are, and I can give you a game plan. This call will provide you with all of the information that you need, and then you can decide if the Mindset of Menopause is the program for you. Now, back to the show. We grew up in a world that says, be successful, but don't take up space. Be healthy, but never hungry. Be strong, but never need help. And by the time you're a woman, you are fluent in this shit, right? And you're fluent in this rendition of you, but you're a complete stranger to who you actually are, right? But what is the cost? What is the cost of this? I like to call it kind of burnout with lipstick and a smile, right? We grow up understanding we are hyper capable women. And I want to say something. I was talking to a client about this the other day. Like, it's not bad to have these qualities, but again, it becomes a problem. Anything good can become a problem when it's at the expense of yourself. Remember that, guys. Anything good can become a problem. And being these hyper capable women, we then take jobs that prove that capability. I mean, the women I work with are surgeons, doctors, executives, lawyers, judges. I mean, you name it, people in politics, we got all of them. And they've worked very hard to get to where they at. They lead people, but they don't ask for help. One of my clients, we actually just hit that on the head this past week. And I was like, oh, interesting. I learned a little bit about her family dynamics. And I said, so how long have you not been able to ask for help? And she was like, oh my God, my husband and I fight about this all the time. I'm like, I get it. We meal prep like it's a deadline. We apologize for resting. We feel guilty for choosing ease or comfort or recovery, right? And that is all caused by the beliefs. It's all caused by these internalized beliefs like, I don't deserve support unless I'm absolutely exhausted. How many of you had said that to yourself? And you're not saying it in that way. Like, if this happens, then I'll ask for help. And usually this is like I can't get out of bed. No, that's not, no, we don't do that. You don't get to not ask for help until you're incapacitated. That's not how it works. A lot of you think that resting means you're lazy, that stopping and being is lazy. It is not. You're a human being, just being. You, as a baby, couldn't do anything, and you were worthy and valuable and loved and praised for existing until someone changed that narrative in your mind. And you think if I'm not doing something productive, then I'm wasting my time. When sometimes the most productive thing is to sit within yourself, see what's going on, see what your body deadlines are looming, because usually that's what ends up happening. It's when a deadline in our body presents itself that we actually pay attention to it. When really we need to, just as we do in business, like make sure that we are hitting the marks and we are prepping and planning and taking care of the things we need to take care of, specifically in ourselves. And then the martyrdom becomes like this identity, right? And I hear this all the freaking time. Like, women will be so successful, but they're not satisfied with their lives. Their energy is leaking into things of like they didn't choose that they wanted to do. This includes like taking care of others and people pleasing, the perfectionism, proving their worth. Then we take on this martyrdom as like an identity where I hear this all the freaking time where women are successful, but they're not satisfied with their lives. They look in the mirror and they think I'm strong and capable, but I'm tired and I'm depleted. I don't recognize the person in front of me. Their energy is leaking into so many different areas that are so far from who they are. And their identity is taken away from them. And that's what I want to change for you guys. So how do we do it, right? We need to enter the mirror work, because what you say in your mind, you see in your mirror. Mirror work is not vanity. We want to reclaim our identities. Your purpose, your passion is there. It's always been there. Yourself, when we talk about self-power in internal family systems theory, the self has always been there. It is that confident, that courageous, that clear-headed, that connected part of you. It's always been there. But again, the story, the witnessing that you witnessed of your own mother or the women around you, then learning your own coping skills of people pleasing, perfectionism, all of those things, learning that rest is wrong. Like that's what changed it. Those are parts, right? Those are parts of you. But if we can begin to heal that little girl and say, hey, you're okay just as you are. You do not need to be doing anything to be seen as worthy. If you're spiritual, that can be a little bit easier because if you're a child of God, right, then you're worthy. You're here. You're here by design. You've been chosen to be here. And that's incredibly important, right? And so I want you to think, who am I when I'm not earning worth? And I had a conversation with Andrea Weiss Brown. I believe you guys will hear it after this episode. Maybe you heard it before. And she talked about your passion is like, what would you love to do even if you weren't paid for it? And that's so profound. And I want you to ask that, like, who am I when I'm not performing or achieving? Because there's characteristics about you, values about you. I know who I am. I'm a very giving person. I really want everyone to have equality. I want to look at the person who is down in the dust and help lift them up in some way. I want to smile at someone and connect with them. I also want sometimes to just be with myself and my prayer and my meditation and my journaling. I'm someone who's creative, very creative, and I'm very connected. I have a gift to connect with people. And I love that. That's my passion. That's my purpose. My purpose is to help people see their worth. It's this freaking episode, right? And ask yourself that and then rebuild the script, right? I can be powerful and need rest. I call this your both, and both can be true. My value isn't dependent on my output. Really, your value is dependent on your internal self. It's it's you being the person that says, I am good. I had a conversation with a client the other day. She goes, I have so much love for myself that I no longer, when I look back at the people pleasing and the relationships that I've had in the past, because she's had some friendships die off, which do when you are standing in your power. And she said, because I love myself so much. And she goes, there's still work to be done, but I love myself so much, like it's not as hurtful. Whereas in the past, I would have just been like, oh my God, what do I do? What can I do for them? Like, how can I get them back? This is my fault. This is my fault. This is my fault. And she realizes now that's not true. And I want you guys to recognize like saying no is being a leader. Saying no is being true to yourself. Again, I have two clients I work with, and the beauty of my work is that I get to work with women through a lot of different life changes. And for both of them, I had started working with them, one in medical school and one in her fellowship. And they both kind of came into their current professions, both surgeons. And we talk about this all the time about how the self-care that we are creating within them is ultimately helping them teach the new residents, the people underneath them, the medical staff, the everyone a new normal, because their counterparts, usually male, don't have that, and they hustle, they grind. But let's get one thing straight. Those men are hustling and grinding, not having to come home and make dinner and take care of kids and do all of that. So it's easy for them to hustle and grind and leave it all on the floor at work because they don't have to mop the floor. Usually they have partners that are doing that. So we talk about these boundaries as leadership. And here's something fun you can do to kind of get your mindset back to this. I want you to actually practice this in the mirror. I want you to get in that mirror, look at yourself, make eye contact, and say one truth about you that has nothing to do with doing. I am creative. Now, creativity technically is you've got to do something. You know what I mean? I love with all of my heart. I am polite, right? I am assertive. Fuck yeah, I am. I respect myself, right? I am a child of God, or I have a great connection with my higher self, with nature, with Buddha, with Allah, whatever it is, right? Let your daughters watch you choose yourself. What a great gift to see mommy. I love you guys. I see the videos where you're working out and your kids are in the gym with you. My girl Adele, who was on this podcast, she does it often. Let them see you choose yourself. Greatest gift that you can get with them. Sit, rest, eat. Do it without rushing as much as you can. And more importantly, do it without apology. Because we need to rewrite these stories, right? We need to redefine what it means to be a woman, right? To be a woman who is not only a mother, but a woman who is smart, a leader, a woman who is creative, all the things I talked about. You get to rewrite that for yourself. And this is the time to do that. If you have been feeling burnt out, hopefully this episode is going to light a fire under your ass, because your burnout is from doing everyone. No one has burned themselves out from taking care of themselves. That's not true. No, that's true. Because what I was thinking was no one's burned themselves out taking care of themselves in a healthy way. There you go. Obviously, we can go the opposite direction, because even self-care and eating well and exercise, again, a good thing can go extreme and become at the expense of ourselves. So some questions I want you to ask yourself. When did you first learn that love meant self-sacrifice? I want you to also pause in moments of overgiving. Like, what am I afraid of will happen if I say no to this person, right? And what would support look like for me right now? Not shame, support. What would it look? So awesome. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I redid it midway because I wanted to give it the energy that it needed. So hopefully that is true for you. Don't forget to comment the menopause symptoms that you're just like, this is my reality. And I don't mean the ones that we can actually change, right? Now, for me, I said it's a choice. I can definitely eat my anti-inflammatory foods like anywhere. That's the beauty of the anti-inflammatory diet. However, when I'm out and I want to eat that certain thing with my husband because it's their specialty, I'm making that choice, right? And that's the thing that I'm choosing to do to then know I'm going to feel fatigued the next couple of days. So don't forget that. Also, on that topic, don't forget we have the Mindset of Menopause set up. I'm only taking 20 clients in this first cohort and in any cohort because I am running this. It'll be me and my crew. So if you haven't already, make sure you've signed up for that. Again, we have a paid in full with a discounted rate and also month-to-month rates. And lastly, we're going to end the same way we do every week, reminding you what you say in your mind, you see in the mirror. Bye-bye.